Ability is always in style. You're listening to KXEX 1550 AM, and guess what? On Saturdays at 4, Sundays at 6, you can catch Powell to the People. We talk politics, education, religion, technology, sports, values, and healthy communities. We've got a lot of good things going on, and we're certainly glad that you've joined us because we interview some really interesting people, but we also have available Good News with Larry Powell, nothing but good news, and that's available every Monday through Friday at 10 and at 4 o'clock KXEX. You can also catch us on Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. We've got a place for you, and we want you to listen and share that information with your friends because you'll hear a really interesting interview from an interesting person and inform you about what's going on in your world. Boy, we are living in an absolutely crazy time. And, I'm so glad that we're connected in the world so much better than we ever were before. And I've got as a special guest today, the Honorable Doug Kulungu, who is a congressman for Parliament in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Doug, welcome. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you so much. Such a privilege.
Hey, you know what? You and I have known each other for a long time, and
yes.
I know your heart, and I know you're a graduate of Fresno Pacific. We're going to talk a little more about that as well. But I want to have you share with the folks a little bit about your history. Did you grow up in America, or did you grow up in the Congo?
Well, first, thank you so much for having me here, Larry. I was born and raised in the Congo, so I came to Fresno in 2005 as a student. I went to Fresno Pacific, and I finished in 2010 with a Bachelor in Business Administration.
Well, I'll tell you what, you made it faster than most of the folks here in America, you know.
The grace of God.
Yeah, 6 years is a typical amount of time it takes to get through university now, 6.4 years, in fact. So what was it like growing up in the Congo? Where did you live? And I know your dad has always been active, and he's a former Fresno Pacific grad as well. Mm-hmm. And you lost him a couple of years ago. Yes. We'll get into that a little bit. His name is Pascal. But tell us a little bit of what it was like growing up in the Congo.
Well, my father used to work for the Mennonite Church, so I grew up with a lot of Mennonite kids who came from America and Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, life in Africa is a little bit different than life in Fresno or in America. Yep. I mean, you grew up with a lot of challenges. You face a lot of trial, and with Christian people called tribulations as well. We grew up in a community where poverty is big time, where you don't have access to clean drinking water.
Wow.
Where there's no electricity, and where, when you go in the classroom, not everybody has access to go to school because the parent cannot afford to pay for primary school. So pretty much you are growing in a community, maybe out of 10, just 1 or 2 can make it out.
Wow. Wow. That's quite a deal. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. So, African believe in a bigger government. So,
and a big family to help take care of that. Well, obviously survival in many cases meant that family income was dependent on a large family so that you could bring money in for the family.
Definitely. And, life in Africa in general, dad has to go to work and mama has to raise the kid at home.
Yep.
So, there's time you have to sacrifice. If there is no food, you have to let the little one eat. Or even if your parent cannot afford for you to go to school, sometimes you have to sacrifice so that your sibling has a chance to go to school and so on.
Wow.
So we are raised with a spirit of sacrifice and service.
Yeah. And, and it's an amazing quality of the Congolese people.
Amen.
That they have this sense that it's a collaborative for a lot of people, not an individual.
Yes.
And I know your dad instilled that in you as well.
Yes.
And one of the things we're going to talk about is water issues in the Congo because the Congo is a very, very rich resource country,
yes,
but the resources have not been used a lot or accessed a lot. Mm-hmm. And I know water is one of those things we're going to talk about because you have such a heart for the Congolese people.
Yes.
Being able to have good, safe drinking water, water for agriculture, all kinds of things. But so tell me, what are your brothers and sisters doing now? Where are they?
Well, my oldest brother used to work for the former government. So he was a senior advisor to the prime minister. He's in Congo.
Yeah.
I'm the second. The third brother is the assistant manager at the bank in ATL in Atlanta.
Okay.
The fourth brother is back home. And the fifth is the sister. She used to be in Fresno. Now she's in Maryland. She's a nurse in Aaron. And then our youngest, Juliana, she works at the bank back in Congo.
Wow. You have everything covered.
Kind of, sort
of. And tell me what part your mom played in all of this.
Well, my mom is a trained nurse, and she really played a lot of role because my father, when we were growing up, my father used to run a Mennonite hospital. My mom used to work in one of the pharmacy as a nurse, but as we started growing up, my mama had to give up her work so she can stay home and try to manage the schedule at home and prep us for school and give us value and morals so we can be raised with that spirit of value. Because one of the strengths of the African people, we are value-based community. We respect is very important. It's very sacred. So our fathers want to make sure that our mothers have been part of the team as they are raising kids, especially those moral value, because if you go out without moral value as an African kid, it's like you dishonor your father. It's lack of respect and lack of consideration. So mothers play a big role because they not just they cook for you guys, but they're the one pretty much putting up with you every day about your homework and everything, while dad is at work and trying to bring something in that time.
Yeah, wow. Well, and I know your father had an amazing impact on you as an individual. So how did he end up here at Fresno Pacific, and when did he come?
My father, born and raised in the poor village, didn't have access to school, so he walked to another village. In the process, he crossed the river that had crocodiles. He did that for
We're talking
years.
real crocodiles here. Yes.
And the Mennonite people came from Nebraska, Canada, and Fresno, picked him up and brought him to a mission station called Kijiji. They put him in school. He became a teacher, a principal. He started running Mennonite Hospital. When he built trust with the American people, then they brought him to Fresno Pacific in 1994.
Wow.
So he came and went to FPU and got his master's in peacemaking and conflict resolution. And when he finished with school in 98, my father decided to go back to the Congo because he believed that the Congo needed him more than America would need him.
Yeah.
So that's how he got to Fresno, and he came with the hope. He was in his 40s when he came to FPU.
Wow.
But he knew that he had to sacrifice because me and my siblings, about 4 of us, the boys were left in Congo in a city called Kikwit while my father was attending school in Fresno. So at the younger age, I had to learn sometime to live without my parent.
Right.
So that one day I can catch up and benefit from the sacrifice that my father made.
Wow. And, that is quite an amazing sacrifice.
Yes.
The Mennonite people had tremendous influence, obviously, because they saw the potential in Pascal, your father, and what he could become.
Yes.
And I, it's a pretty amazing story when you think about it, that not only did he come here and get educated, but the willingness to go back, because once you're here in America, you're experiencing a completely different life.
You don't want to go back usually.
It's a good life. Yes. And yet he understood clearly that for the sake of his family, for the sake of his people, going back was a good thing to do.
Yes.
And so he returns to the Congo. He helps run the hospital there. And obviously he was a very bright man, very, very smart, and did very well. Once he gets back there, he started instilling in you, I think, a little bit of love for Fresno Pacific, obviously. Did you decide when he came back, when did you decide Fresno Pacific was where you wanted to go?
Well, as my father came back to Congo and we had a chance for us to reunited for about 5 years since he'd been gone. I was in high school, finishing up high school, and then my American family, the Hanson's family.
Yes, Eric Hansen, Dr. Eric Hansen.
Yes, and Darlene Hansen.
Yes.
They sort of adopted me, brought me to Fresno, and put me at school at Fresno Pacific.
Wow.
And they say, come so you can go to school, so tomorrow you can be prepared to help your country and help your people. So I came in 2005. I didn't know English. I was 22.
You speak English better than most people I know, Doug.
No, thank you. With a thick accent.
Yeah.
So I came to Fresno Pacific 2005 in August. I didn't know English. And I was very confused.
Wow.
And there was high expectation from my American family and from my Congolese family both family wanted me to succeed.
Sure.
But then it's like you going to China without knowing Chinese, and they want you to get A's in classes. So it was quite tough. And
listen, if I went to the Congo and tried to speak your language,
yes,
I'd be in trouble. No doubt about it.
So I went to Fresno Pacific. I just started learning basic English. I am, you are, and so on. And,
sure.
Yeah, for 2 years. And then I passed a test that is called TOEFL, Test of English as a Foreign Language.
Okay.
As I finished that test in 2007, I started undergrad to finish in 2010. So I did undergrad in 3 years, pretty much.
Wow.
So I was doing 18 units each semester.
You were on a fast track.
Yes, because I knew that I had to finish and so on. So it was, I mean, I remember first time reading 3 pages in English. It took me 8 hours because I had a dictionary, French dictionary.
Yeah.
I had to translate each word.
Oh, man.
And then after that, I had a serious headache.
I believe it. Well, listen, it's hard to believe how fast our time goes. We're done with our first segment here, and we're so glad to have the Honorable Doug Kulungu with us today, Congressman from the Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. We're going to be back in just a minute and look forward to more comments. Doug, we're glad you're with us.
Thank you so much.
This is Powell to the People on the best talk in town. People on the best talk in town.
Well, welcome back to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. We're so glad you're with us. We've got a special guest today, the Honorable Doug Kulungu, who is a congressman in Parliament in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And Doug has a really fascinating history. Came to Fresno Pacific University after his father had graduated there. And his father was involved as the leader of the Mennonite Hospital in his hometown area, and just set an example for Doug that he's continuing to live out as a legacy to his father, who, Doug, he passed away, 3 years ago now?
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing. So you're here, you're learning English. It's a great story. 2 years of learning English, 3 years of getting out of college. That's a really great accomplishment. I'll tell you, I could see how you became a congressman. So who were your friends? Who did you make friends with when you first got here? Who, obviously the Hansons and things, but who were some of the students that you felt really helped and made good connections with you?
Well, when I got to Pacific, Eric Hansen thought it was important for me to stay on campus, so I get a chance to mingle and meet friends and practice English and live there.
So you lived on campus?
I live on campus.
Yeah, fantastic.
So I had a roommate, a few roommates actually, and dorm mate, and they really helped me a lot. They were very opening, very nice. They knew I came from a third world country and French-spoken country, and they had a chance to come alongside me to coach me and explain me some word and mentor me and show me the sense of love, because you got to realize that Fresno Pacific is a Christian school.
Yes.
So we will have Bible studies on our, we call our module or dorm and so on. And then, and the guy who was running the program will give me a chance to read in French.
Wow.
Because they knew I didn't know English.
Yes.
So they would just, because they wanted me to be part of the process, they would ask me to read in French.
Yes.
And while nobody understands, but they want me to explain what does that mean.
I love it.
So that's really made me feel considered and accepted in the new community. In the new
Absolutely.
Country. So our friends play a major role in my ability to learn how to speak the language, but also the aptitude to adjust to a foreign culture, something that was new to me.
Yes.
I had a great homesick because, I'm coming out of Congo where they never get cold.
Yeah.
I get to Fresno, get cold. But first winter was...
you want to know what you had done, right?
There we go. So I just I didn't like the food, and it was tough.
Absolutely.
It was tough.
I think about that when I've been to a foreign country and things. Adjusting to the food was one of the really hard things.
Yeah.
And you were lucky if you liked it.
Yeah. Yes.
But you missed that home cooking.
No joke.
Yeah, you really missed that home cooking, and that's a tough thing to adjust to. And then obviously you don't have mom or dad around, you don't have friends around, you don't have family around, and yet you just described one of the things that we work with in K-12 education for families who come here, and that is this. if you're educated already, which you were, you were educated in French, so you had knowledge. For us to make you just learn English but not continue to gain knowledge didn't make any sense. And you just described what we try to do here in America with kids that come here and get into high school. We want them to continue to learn in their home language the knowledge and gain more knowledge while acquiring English.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you described happened to you, is you continue to grow academically while learning the language, which is really a positive.
Yes.
Yeah, so you could get done in 3 years.
Yes. Excuse me. It was very challenging because you realize, well, I speak about 5 languages. So we made it easier maybe for me to learn. And but I also knew that the calling, the situation in Congo and the status quo was requiring for me to make some drastic change and to take some decision that will change the course of my life, but also the course of my community, knowing that I'm coming from a respect, honor, and value-based culture.
Yes.
So my father had a lot of expectation on me, and knowing that he went to Fresno Pacific, so that was like I'm going to the same church that my father went, because everything that would go wrong, he'll get a phone call or email. And then before I left Congo, my father told me, I was 22 then, now I'm 39.
Okay.
My father said, you're going to Fresno Pacific, you are a Kulungu, that is my name. So watch out. Everybody in that school knows me. So be careful.
That's a great message that parents today need to share with their kids.
Yes.
Is that when your name is known and God has given you a position in life, you have a responsibility to honor that.
Yes.
And you did, obviously.
Yes.
Which made a huge difference.
Definitely. That was, FPU then became my source of inspiration, meeting American friends and seeing the American dream, and kind of started inspiring me. I realized that nobody's name is barrier in America.
Yes.
If you work hard, if you have some value, you have some work ethic, and if you put yourself out there, you'll meet opportunity.
Boy, I love it. And what a great message for a lot of our immigrant families now. Who are struggling a little bit is get in and learn the language, continue to learn academically, but learn the language, and you have the right to become as successful as anybody in America.
Yes.
So
I don't believe in excuses.
Yeah.
I don't believe, because my own story is an inspiration.
It is.
And then knowing that as I came to this country, America is not a perfect country. Yeah, because there's no country that's perfect.
Right.
But I know that if you really work hard in America, if you really want to get it done, American people are good people. That's my experience.
I love it.
I'm only speaking about my own experience.
Yes.
As I went to Fresno Pacific, I never came across any racial discrimination situations. I was loved by everybody, and then everybody was available to help me, and the community was there for me. And then I remember in 2006, my English wasn't still perfect, but as I publishing on Congo, there were people who wanted to help me write whatever I wanted to say.
Is that right?
And they would come alongside. They were American. And so I think we should cherish. That's the American spirit.
Yes.
The American dream is still alive.
Yep.
If somebody from Congo can come here and then learn English, go to school, and become part of the community and the society, I believe that America still has a chance for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I love your story. It is such a great story.
Thank you.
And it's such an honor to your dad. Now, tell me about your mom a little bit.
My mom is out of a family of 8. She's the eldest. So she also went to a Mennonite school in Congo. She did nursing. She helped me a lot with my spiritual side. But even as I was a kid, I remember I was in primary school. My mom was spending a lot of time helping me to write. I wanted really to watch movies and play sports. I never really wanted to go to school.
Like every kid, huh?
Yes. So I didn't want to go to school.
Okay.
So I remember then we are in 1990, I think, or 89, and the movie Home Alone came.
Oh, yeah.
And then Coming to America, the movie. That's one of my favorites with Gary Sayers.
Yes.
So that movie came out, and every day I wanted to ditch classes just to go watch the movie. And then I watch it over and over, and Beethoven, the movie about the dog. And so since we're growing up with missionary in Congo, so American missionary brought us movies. And when they bring those movies, and I just want to watch them all day. But my mom will call me out and be like, stop watching movie. You need to go to school. So tomorrow you can become somebody, and so on. So, but my mom helped me the second time on the spiritual side when I received Christ, I think it's okay to talk about Jesus.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When I received Christ, I was 22. I think it was March 2005, just a few months before I came to Fresno. And my mom became the spiritual asset for me, as somebody who will speak faith into me. We're still the spirit of seeking God and praying. And we wanted to go to America, me and my siblings, and we talk about it. And my mom would remind us that you don't just talk about it, pray about it, and seek God, and God will come, and God will reveal whatever you need. So she gave me kind of the foundation, the first foundation of my spiritual background.
I love it.
When I came to America, before I came to America, while I was in Congo, my mom and my father imposed us a Bible study each Saturday at 6 p.m.
Okay.
So that was a chance for me to learn the Bible, to learn the scriptures, and to start preaching and so on.
Yeah.
So then later on, my father revealed to us that they imposed it on a Saturday night because they didn't want us to go out.
There was method in his madness.
There you go. So when I came to Fresno Pacific now, I was on campus by myself, and then there was Saturday, but I couldn't go out because I was already trained to staying home on Saturday and reading my Bible and so on. So my mom, I owe a lot to my mother.
What a passionate thing she did, and what a great thing she did for you.
Yes.
Giving you that sense of direction and purpose. And,
there we go.
That kind of thing. Wow. Our moms are so critical to our development.
So important.
Yes.
So important.
Yes. And what's your mom doing now?
My mom now, she's at home. Sometimes she helps. My father was running a center of peacemaking and conflict resolution.
And he got his degree in peacemaking.
Yes, there we go. And now that he's gone, so my mom twice a week goes to the center just to make sure that she has a chance to explain to the women what my father was teaching, and she want to continue the legacy in that term.
Wow.
She's doing great, and she's back home.
That's fantastic. And you get back about every 3 months.
Yes.
You're back and forth between America and the Congo. And we're going to talk about, we're just about at the end of our second segment. I can't believe how fast this time goes, but Doug, it's great having you with us. We're going to talk, folks, about his life here in America. And then when his father passed, a position was passed on to him as a member of the Congress in Congo. And it's a fascinating story. You don't want to miss it. So we're glad you're with us. Stick with us. This is Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. We'll be right back.
To the people on the best talk in town.
Well, welcome back to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. We're with the Honorable Doug Kulungu today. And what a fascinating conversation, Doug. Just hearing about your history growing up in the Congo. You're 22 years old. Your mom has instilled and your dad has instilled in you that a Saturday night is a good time to learn the gospel, to be into the Bible. You end up coming to Fresno Pacific University, where your dad graduated, and then ended up going back to the Congo to bring a lot of what he learned here and the passion that he had for his people, working with the Mennonites and doing a hospital, and your mom being a nurse. I mean, your siblings all being successful. It's a great story out of a difficult circumstance, because it could easily have gone a different direction.
Yeah.
And God had his plan for you, which I think is fantastic.
Amen.
And then you started, you got here. Okay. So you got your degree, you graduated. What did you do after graduating? What was your plan and what was your thought process?
Well, I finished FPU in 2010 in May. I came out of college when Obama was just 2 years into his presidency.
Okay.
And if you remember, then we're losing about 800,000 jobs a week and so on.
Yeah.
So the situation was a little bit very despairing. So I couldn't find work. I think I had sent more than 400 resumes
out. Wow.
And then couldn't find any. The job was not available. So it kind of started planting doubt in me.
Yeah, of course.
I was asking myself all those type of questions because my perception was, as soon as I came out of college, success would just come. But
every college graduate has that sense.
So I came out of college, started looking for work, and couldn't find work, and it was really tough. So then I started networking.
Okay.
So I wanted to connect my early dream of serving in Congo and my passion for Congo while being in America. How am I going to get back to Congo? That was the big question. How am I going back and so on? So I started networking, in networking, and then try to build a network in Fresno and East Coast on Congo.
Yes.
And then we started meeting at Fresno Pacific starting in 2011 with Pastor Angelus Wilson.
Yes. Who is a fantastic guy.
Yes, man. So we'll invite folks to come pray for Congo.
Okay.
People come, and we start about 30, 40 people come pray and give offering, about $500, 1,000 who sent to Congo. They'll feed homeless and street kids and so on.
Yeah.
Then I start praying, seeking God and opening the Bible, the book of the prayer of Jabez, First Chronicle, I think 4:10.
Yeah.
Jabez pray and seek God and say, "Oh, you will enlarge my field and expand my territory."
Yes.
And one of my dreams growing up was I wanted to be around the U.S. president. I wanted to be around U.S. senators. And I knew that sky was the dream, and the sky was the limit, actually. And my mom told me, if you trust God, if you seek God, and there is nothing impossible of the God that we serve.
Yeah.
So then I realized now I'm in America, a country of opportunity, but I'm stuck. There's no opportunity. And I'm trying to rise, but there's no way I can do it. So prayer then became the engine of my desperation.
Wow.
Start praying and seeking God, and God started opening doors. In 2013, the guy invited to the National Prayer Breakfast in D.C.
Yeah, I remember you telling about that.
Yes, and I
great.
went there and met a lot of U.S. senators, and President Obama spoke. So that gave me kind of hope that my childhood dream kind of started coming back, and so on. Then when I get back to Fresno, met with Tom Summer, good friend, CBMC, and we sat down, Tom, and I told him, look, what I want to do, where I am, but I don't know how to go about it. And then I wanted to start a ministry, but I didn't know how do you start a ministry. How do you create a board?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know anything. I only had a passion for my country. And then Tom's kind of started helping me and putting ideas together. We organized another prayer in 2013 at FPU. And I think by faith, as I was speaking, and I said, I just think like now is the time for me to rise and serve my country.
Yeah.
And let's see what God has for us.
So did Kulungu for Congo come out of that?
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
In short, we say KFC.
KFC, yes. It's not Kentucky Fried Chicken. No. It's Kulungu for Congo.
For Congo, but we do love chicken. So that through KFC, then we kind of build the board and start dreaming about, okay, I had to rally friends from Fresno who had passion for serving Christ, but I've never been in Congo. But I had a heart for me and my people. So we put a nonprofit together, and then we start selling the vision of building a better Congo, one person, one family, one region at a time on behalf of Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
because we realize that if we train people and they become successful, and if they go and work and have a good heart, and if they have changed heart, then everything they do should bring glory to God. So we launched KFC, and we got a computer center in Congo, building schools, start drilling wells, and we did that for now. I think it's 9 years going.
Wow.
But then in 2008, I was 18. I was in Congo, and my father was getting ready to run for office.
Yes.
So then he asked me, in Congo, when you run for office, you have to kind of have one first and second assistant. So which means if you win the election, and then if you get sick, or you die, or you cannot serve anymore, or you just quit, then your assistant become the congressman.
Gotcha.
So that's how our constitution is.
Yes.
So when my father asked me, then I told him, like, look, I want to come back to Congo, but in 10 years.
Yes, you had a different plan, didn't you?
Different plan, yes. I'm like, I'm still in America, and I just got married to my wife.
Yes. Beautiful wife.
Yes, thank you. Patience. And then now, I was trying to get a visa to come to America.
Okay.
But a visa wasn't available.
Wow.
It took a lot of time. So in that process, my father's trying to get me into government, and I'm trying to get my wife here. I told my dad, like, I don't think I'm ready for this. So maybe give me a few years. And my daddy, like, I just need your name. You won't do anything. You can stay in America, but I just need your name. So I said, okay, you can go ahead and use my name.
Yes.
So that's 8 months later. My father ran and won, and a few weeks later, he passed away.
Amazing.
So as he passed away, now I was
that 10 years became
10 years
2 months.
Became 2 months. So now, not even 2 months, but a week, because my dad died, but Parliament is calling me, like, you need to show up.
Wow.
Because you need to take your dad's seat.
Yes.
And I was like, no, I'm not taking it. So it became a fight between me and my siblings and my father's friend and my mentors. So, and my wife, because now my wife is in America, she's 9 months pregnant.
Yeah.
She's doing 2 weeks, and my father is dying on the 16th of January. The baby's doing the 29th. She's going to have a C-section.
Wow.
And she doesn't speak English. She can't drive. But the parliament want me to leave her here, go back to Congo, become a congressman. Then I was like, no, I don't think I'll do
That's
that.
called a dilemma.
Oh. So, I was under pressure, and then I'm talking to Grandma Henson. She said, you can't go to Congo because that lady needs you.
Yeah.
So, and then they brought so much confusion. Then I'm just walking on my street. I'm saying, God, why will you take my father now?
Yes.
You knew I was waiting on my baby's coming. My wife just got here, and I don't even know how to do. I'm confused. And then you're going to take my father again?
You had a frank conversation with God.
Oh, yeah. It was painful.
Yes.
Really painful.
Yes.
And then I went to talk to Tom Summer. I'm like, because I've been telling Tom Summer that I wanted to serve in Congo.
Right.
But then when my father died, I told him, look, my father had me as the first assistant. They calling me to become a congressman, but I don't want to go. Then he's like, why you don't want to go? I'm like, why? Because I wanted to run for office in 10 years.
Yes.
But then Tom is like, but that's your timing. This is God's timing. Then I'm like, but it's confusing because my wife is here. And Tom said, like, go talk to a few friends and come back to me.
I love it.
So I talked to a few friends, among them HPs and many others, and Pastor Angelus and my American family. And I came back to Tom, and then I told Tom, well, everybody's bringing me back to the book of Joshua. Joshua chapter 1 and verse 6 to 9. Moses dead, and God's telling Joshua, I'm going to be with you. And then Tom said, that's the scripture I was going to give to you. So I felt like Tom Summer had set me up, like, and calling everybody, Doug is coming, give me the scripture. So that's how I became a congressman.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. And you know what? You have had a passion for safe drinking water for Congo, because we're so fortunate here in America. We have these standards. We have access to technology. But a lot of Congolese folks do not have safe drinking water. They still get it out of the river or wherever. And I know that you've been working with, and part of your dream of knowing senators and congressmen was, how do I make connections so that I can get safe drinking water systems and programs back to the Congo?
Yes.
And it's an amazing dream, and it's a fantastic thing. So now God has put you in a position as a congressman in the Congo, and you've got connections both officially as a political person with folks here in Fresno and throughout the nation, and trying to bring, how do we get safe drinking water back to the Congo, and then along with that, living water. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Christ is the living water. He brings life to everything that he comes in contact with. And you and I both love the Lord and are Christians and understand the concept of good drinking water, but living water and things. And so I think it's a fascinating thing that you're doing. And you've got some plans to bring some Congolese representatives here to meet some of the folks so that they're more open to them coming there, our folks coming there and going there, so that they can do something special for Congo.
Amen.
Amazing when you think about what your plans now. God had this all known in advance.
Yes.
And the wrestling you had to do to finally listen to what he had for you is pretty unique. You know? So now you're a congressman. You've got a chance to really talk about safe drinking water along with schools and other things that you're doing, and it's pretty amazing. I can't believe we're done with our third segment already, Doug, but we're going to take a break here in just a second. But, wow, what a fascinating story. In a lot of ways, it's a Congolese-American story of what God has done as a result of the Mennonites coming to Congo, working with you and your family, you coming here, going back to the Congo. We're going to learn a little more about that in our last segment and learn more about living water. We're so glad you're with us. This is Powell to the People, where civility is always in style.
The People on the best talk in town.
Well, welcome back to Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. And what a great conversation we're having with the Honorable Doug Kulungu, who is congressman in Parliament in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And you've heard for the last 3/4 of an hour, you've heard some fascinating information about growing up in the Congo, coming to Fresno Pacific University, where his dad also graduated, being connected with the Mennonites. Now, all of a sudden, his dad passes away, Pascal, who was a tremendous influence on his life. And he's the number one representative in his, what did they call it? The first
congressman or assistant.
First assistant, and his dad must have known something because he says, "Just let me use your name."
Yeah.
And the using your name to become the first assistant, and all of a sudden your dad leaves, he passes away, and God takes him home, and you become the congressman to the Congo 10 years in advance of your plan.
Yes.
But God's plan was different. And now you're doing some amazing things with trying to bring safe drinking water to all of the folks that you represent in the Congo, and the connections that you've made over the last 15 years here in Fresno and throughout the United States is helping set this up with Kulungu for Congo, KFC, for those folks who would like to know. And tell us a little bit about KFC, because you have a fundraiser every year, usually in the fall.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us a little more about that.
Well, every fall we have a fundraising event where 500, 600 Americans show up.
Yes.
To pray for Congo, support us. These have been friends of many years. This year going to be special because I was in Congo last month, and I'm heading back again very soon. Kulungu for Congo, KFC, just signed a partnership with the First Lady of Congo.
Wow. So you had mentioned that might happen, and it has.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So thank God for Jesus. So
yeah.
Now our hope is to bring the First Lady to Fresno.
Oh, I love it.
So we are working, and Larry can be leading what we call the Fresno welcoming team, with some mayor can be involved, where we want to give the First Lady a warm welcoming in Fresno, which actually a long-term goal is how do we do businesses Fresno County and Congo.
Yes.
Because Congo is the second largest country in Africa. We have 100 million population, 50% of the African water, but our people are starving, and employment rate is above 80%.
Wow. So
the president of Congo is a good man, a good Christian, solid by heart, who's willing to bring about change in Congo by ending corruptions and bringing accountability and integrity in the government, in our system. And I'm all for all those kind of good values. So the idea is, how do we expose them to farmers from Central Valley who can coach and mentor and work in partnership with our agriculture minister to bring about change in the way our people eat, because we're importing rice from Pakistan. Even eggs get imported.
Wow.
While I have friends in Kingsburg and in Hartford who have chickens farming. So the African love chicken so much, instead of letting them the eggs, and they end up eating them usually.
Okay.
So we are working with Kulungu for Congo to bring water, like you're talking about clean water. You realize that 50 million people in Congo don't have clean water.
Wow.
That's 50% of our population.
Yes.
Excuse me. And kids die because of diarrhea, cholera, or different diseases that come through water.
Absolutely.
So what we've been trying to do is, how do we give water to our people in our community? But at the same time, as a Christian, we wanted to talk about living water, which is the gospel of Jesus Christ. In the book of John 4, the woman at the well, Jesus met this Samaritan woman that was living with husband that were not hers. And then Christ asked for water, and then there was a conflict. She didn't want to give water because she said, we don't get along. But Jesus then said, if you have known who would ask you for clean water, you would have asked for living water.
Yes.
And then she asked for living water. Then he said, go call your husband.
Yeah.
So the story goes on. Now, our philosophy is, as we give people clean water, we want the gospel to be preached, because right now, prosperity gospel is taking place in Africa. We want to bring it back to the way the missionary did it, John 3:16.
Yes.
For God so loved the world that he sent his only and beloved child.
Yes.
That whoever believe in him will not perish, but will have
everlasting
eternal
life. Yes.
So our philosophy is, we want to give you clean water and living water that is the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So we are drilling a well. Before, we used to drill a well for about $25,000 a well. Last year we did at $16,000, but this year we bought our own rigs.
Wow.
We have about 3 rigs now coming from China. We bought good equipment, and they will vet the company before purchasing those equipment.
Sure.
So our goal is, starting next year, to give water to 200,000 people.
Wow.
So that drilling maybe 50 wells a year. A well costs about roughly $10,000 US dollars.
Yeah, fantastic.
So it's a wonderful opportunity to give people clean life while they're still on earth, but prepare them from heaven as they leave the earth. So,
you know what's so neat, Doug, is we know why you're here in Fresno, because you had to have contacts with farmers, with political folks, with folks who had access to water systems, understood how to conserve water, but how to get clean drinking water. And we certainly get it now, why God put you in the political position you're in as quickly as he did. And the fact that you're bringing the First Lady of Congo here, I can't wait to help make the connections with all of our political leaders here, both mayors, congressmen, senators, folks that, also have good connections to water. It's an amazing unifier and an opportunity to do some things that are absolutely spectacular. God has you strategically placed for a time such as this to be able to do that. And I'm just excited about where we are and where you're going.
Amen.
And what it means, though, is you go back and forth between here and the Congo about 6 times a year.
Yes. So in Congress in Congo, we have session twice a year.
Okay.
One starting in March 15 until June 16, then September 15 to December 15. So I'll go back and forth. Because of COVID, they gave us the ability to do some Zoom meetings.
Yes.
So I'm heading back to Congo eventually, maybe next week already, to finish the session. But as I go back and forth, that also give me a chance to bring people, to welcome folks from Fresno in Congo. Like there's a team going to Congo this June.
Good.
So if there is anybody there who love the gospel, who love Jesus Christ, and who want to go make disciples to Africa, come with us. We'll take you.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, you can, in fact, you can, what email should they contact you at if they have some interest?
That would be Doug, first name, and last name is Kulungu. That is Kulungu at yahoo.fr. FR because I'm French.
Yes.
And my phone number is 559-273-2596, or they can just call Larry. Larry has
Absolutely. You can catch me at lpowell@peopleschurch.org, and we're more than happy to make the connection between you and if you have some resources, folks, that deal with clean drinking water, the technology, you have knowledge about it. You have people who are friends that have knowledge about it and would like to, do this partnership between Fresno County and the Congo. We've got an opportunity for you, and I mean it's pretty spectacular. Now, your next fundraising is coming up on September, I believe.
15th.
Yeah, September 15th. And we're going to have more information on the show. We'll do a couple of ads so that you can clearly understand when that's going to be. But we would love to have you involved. So between now and then, start thinking about how you might be connected to something that is really not just good for now, but is eternal in changing the trajectory of a whole lot of lives by bringing clean drinking water and living water to the Congo through the work of the Honorable Doug Kulungu. Doug, I can't wait to see what God does out of this, because you've been open to his plan even when it wasn't your plan. And that's one of the hard things about the Christian life, is that God's plans aren't always our plans, but we have to be open to what he has for us, because timing is everything, and he knows that.
Yes.
So what's your trip back now? What are you going to do when you head back now?
Well, I'm heading back because we got more work to do in Congress.
Okay.
And I'll be visiting my district in about 3 weeks. And then I'll be taking the Fresno team that is arriving in Congo on June 6th. And Pastor Angelus Wilson is part of that team.
Fantastic.
We have a guy from New Covenant Church and Senge Bible Church, and a friend from Visalia. So we want to expose Africa to the Central Valley, because we believe that America has been blessed, and then it's important for American Christians to go do missions, and then based on Matthew 28:19, go into the world and make disciples.
Yes.
Which is we call it Great Commission.
I love it.
And then we believe that as they go to Africa, they get a challenge because they get exposed to poverty. And then it's also a sense for Americans to learn how to be, to have a sense of gratitude, to be grateful.
Doug, our poorest in America are richer than 96% of the rest of the world.
Yes.
So we are so blessed. We are truly blessed. So those of us who also have been given blessings have a requirement to share our blessings and resources as well. And I'm just looking forward to hearing about the return trip after the folks go visit and see what's going on. We're getting ready for the September 15th KFC, not Kentucky Fried Chicken, but Kulungu for Congress.
You got it.
And we've got an opportunity, folks. Would love to have you involved with what Doug Kulungu is doing, because it's changing for an eternity what's going on in the Congo. And Now, when will the First Lady be visiting us? Will that be in September?
September. We are working with CBWC and Fresno State eventually to host an event.
I love it.
So, and then we'll have to visit a couple farmers. Actually, our hope is that her visit should set a tone to get the president in Fresno eventually.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, you know what? This has been an exciting time. The Honorable Doug Kulungu, Congressman for the Democratic Republic of Congo, has been with us. I can't believe how fast this hour has gone. We're so glad that you've been here. Keep your ears open, folks, and also check us out on Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and other places so you can find out more about the Congo and how you might help bring drinking water and living water there. Thank you for being with Powell to the People, where civility is always in style. We'll see you next week.
You're listening to Powell